In today's episode, we are talking about what you do when you're locked in to Corona, Facebook rooms, and the last dance, the Bulls and Michael Jordan's run. Welcome all. It is us, those Potters. Lifestyles are fine. We back in the building.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, how are you guys doing on this Corona-filled Saturday?
I am well.
I'm hanging in here.
I am well.
I'm hanging in there watching you struggle with those chips.
Yo, man, these Buffalo Ranch chips. You know, I have a cracked tooth that obviously I can't do a damn thing about.
Right.
At this point in time, and everything gets jammed up in it. So it's horrible, son. It's horrible.
I gotta tell you, this is another thing that Corona has taken from me. We're not talking about lives, but just like things I said I'm gonna check off this year. Mm-hmm. The dental stuff that I wanted to do, like no dentistry stuff is happening all this year, maybe even 2 years.
Nah, yeah, it's. I couldn't tell you when the next time I'm going to be at the dentist.
I don't think the dentist is going to be at the dentist.
Yeah, no.
Emergency only.
Yeah, they're in the ER fighting coronavirus with everyone else.
Wow.
Oh, but locked in.
Yeah.
So what could you fellas say? You guys are doing to keep sane, to make things fun and interesting with your significant other, your family, or your friends,
or even yourself, for that matter, too. Right?
Yeah, or even if yourself, because a lot of us don't. A lot of us don't. It's just us and our wife, or us and a handful of other people. So I don't know exactly how many is in your home, but
I got 4 right now. I be number 5.
Right. So, I think there's a decent spread. I mean, of people between homes.
Yeah.
With me and Ramon and myself being very similar. I can tell you without a doubt that I have driven my wife crazy. I love her to death, and I am super thankful that she was able to keep me fed. Like every morning, there was the tea with lemon and ginger. There was the Energize.
This is while you were sick, yeah?
Yeah, we gotta make sure clear. You gotta make that clear.
This is while I was sick. Still sick, but it's while I was fucked up. Mm-hmm. So there was the tea, lemon, ginger. There's the emergency. There's the Centrum. Mm-hmm. There was, and that was first, and then she cooked the breakfast, whatever breakfast was cooked, and whatever I was able to consume, because for a brief, maybe day and a half, 2 days, I wouldn't eat anything. Mm-hmm. So.
Y'all gonna stop placing all that faith in vitamin C. That shit does not fight off cold or flu or none of that shit.
It doesn't. So the key to vitamin C is taking it before you actually get sick. It doesn't. Once you're sick, it really doesn't matter. But it's just. I guess I've become such a creature of habit. So I'm just going to take it.
So the vitamin C. That is very high on antioxidants, which does something, but it's in a case like this, you don't want something else to jump on top of you while you're fighting that. Mm-hmm. For many of us, it's like, it makes you go to the bathroom and take a very long piss. Let's just put that out there. That's what vitamin C does.
Yeah, but consecutively.
It ain't gonna do nothing for the virus. Like that much is whatever. But it's. When you're dealing with this, you don't want nothing else coming in here, because now if you sneeze right now, Ramon sneezes right now, he hasn't blown that air gun in probably about like a good 12 hours. If he sneezes right now, it's going to be a little thing in the back of his head like, oh shit, I went shopping 4 days ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I went downstairs. You know, so you don't want whatever the vitamin C can do for you to keep your mind sane. Do that. Yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah. So, and along with all of that going on, I can say, there, one thing that we have done, I'd say, to keep saying, like, I only have one controller, so we can't, I can't play warfare with the Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? So because I would install it on the Xbox and just play on the computer.
Man, get your keyboard and mouse skills up, man. Come on.
Nah, B, I ain't with nothing. I actually, Mac was, I asked him, I was like, yo, you using the keyboard and the mouse?
I heard you. I heard
was
you.
Like, oh, excuse me? But
that's why he ain't shit.
Yeah, because he got shot in his face a few times. But there, you know, there's a few things. One thing we really gotten into is dinner time, talk time. Dinner time, talk time. We sit down, we eat. I would say we would consume maybe half our plate, and then we'll start talking, and we'll talk about whatever. It actually started before I got sick, but after this whole shut-in thing. And
so basically the lockdown was what enforced this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And we just got into conversing about everything. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about family things. We talked about us things. We talked about just society things. We talked about the news and what the news does to people when they're frightened.
Nation of fear.
Yep. And we just talked about, I think that is very important. More so, I mean, you got to get out. Like, we did go for a ride, a drive. We went to the city. But up until the point where I got sick, it's just like, I'm sick now. I can't go or do anything. And now, you know, once we weren't sick, well, I wasn't sick. I was able to. We would go do our shopping. We go for a ride. So, you know, can be outside the house between 1 and 5. So that is our time to get anything or everything in the way and out the way. And if we finish shopping earlier, try to drive around, just do a little, I don't know, sightseeing and whatever, and you know, come back to our reality and wash, rinse, repeat. But I think it's important to just be mindful of the person who is in your company, especially when you're physically sick. When you're not physically sick, it's one thing. But when you're physically sick, you can say and do things that are not very nice. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's just like we one of our last podcasts where, you know, you said, Snow, you didn't want to talk to nobody, much less about, you know, what social media platform to utilize on you know.
Yeah, but it's very real.
You know, I think I can say probably that I may have gotten into I don't know, first of all, I wasn't even sleeping properly. And worst thing that anyone can experience when you're sick or not is to get improper sleep, because it throws your entire day off. Communication is shot. Your mind doesn't function like it normally because your mind is tired. Everything is tired. So now you have to have a conversation with someone that under normal circumstances is fine. But now it's off. and you become a little more snappish, and you say certain things that may not be accurate. So I think it's important to be mindful. And just be careful when and if you get sick. That, hey, look, both parties need to understand. Hey, I'm sick. You want to converse, or you want to whatever. Just give me a few, and I'll be right as the morning, when I can.
Yeah. I think for me it's just about a routine. Mm-hmm. I'm unemployed because of the corona situation, so waking up, I've been listening to an audiobook about this relatively new field in IT called DevOps. So I've been doing that, and then I'm like doing some courses here and there just to stay sharp while I'm not working.
Right.
So I schedule that from 11 to 1 o'clock. Then there's a 2-hour break. And then after that, that's when I do 2 hours of like resume development, looking over my resume where I can make tweaks, and then also just responding to emails to recruiters, applying applications, yada, yada, yada. And then after that, I'll probably do some gaming, and that'll take me right through until like maybe 6 o'clock or so. And then that's pretty much when I detach and just tune in with the wife. Mm-hmm. It's dinner time. We talk, we chill, we hang out all the way up until like 12, 1, 2 in the morning. So I think that routine is and she has her own routine as well. But I think definitely developing a routine is what has been helping me stay level for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the routine is definitely important. And the routine for the first half of me, well, the first quarter, I guess you could say, of me being sick, or for half the time I was sick, got broken a little bit, but then I had to create a routine for that. And then still had to deal with the work from home thing because we haven't spoken about that. So I'm gonna say it a little lightly. During my first, I guess, quarter of being sick, it was allowing me to work 9 to 6 with no problem. Mm. And then on Fridays, I got the short day. I do 2 o'clock. But as soon as that was over is when it would be like, all right, you made your money. Now it's time for me to play with you. But in general, and then I was off for about a couple days because of the holidays of my company. So no matter what day it is, I'm getting up early and I walk to my front door. I step outside. I inhale. I may walk around to the back, make sure everything's good. You know what I'm saying? There's 4 cars that we have on the property. Mine's is around the corner. But I got to make sure I check everybody's vehicle, make sure we all good. Check my grills, because, I love my grills. Check my grills, make sure we all good. Then I come back in. And if it's during the work week, I usually do that 15 minutes before me having to clock in. Throughout the week, while I'm working, I try to mimic my pattern and routine while I was at work. So if I know that by an hour in, I get up and I go over to my one of my constituents' desk or something like that, and I start talking about the past, the emails that came over. I will schedule a meeting on Teams and call him and do a video call with him. I explained to him why I want to do the video call, and he understood, and he actually thanked me for it. If I know that at 11:30, 12 o'clock, because I don't eat early in the day, I try to eat 2 p.m., 3 p.m., but I know I will get up and take my 15-minute break. Anytime I take my 15-minute break, I'm doing it like how I would do it at the office. I do it at home. So if I go to the break room to get water, that's me going downstairs to the kitchen to get water. You know what I'm saying? But I don't drink the water downstairs. I got bottled water. So I'll go get it and I'll clean something because I live here. So I'll clean something and then I'll come back upstairs and I'll get back to work. Sometimes I break that because I don't want to be in the break room. I'll go outside. So I mimic that here. Take the same walk around my block, chill out in the front, don't really socialize, at this, everything's at a distance. So I'll come back upstairs and I'll go back to work. As far as the other stuff for the sane and fun, sane is I'm making sure that I be social where I can. The one program that we're using that isn't any of these other video programs has been very, very, very helpful.
Right.
Having that conversation, with people, my peeps that are available, keeping that room open for gamers is a lot easier because we're used to being in parties now.
Right.
That's a known thing unless you're a Nintendo player. You like having a big room where you just got a revolving door of people coming in and out and conversations happening, like that's been very, very, very instrumental. I would say, back in the AIM era, for us gamers, these party chats, whatever the app is, whatever the console is basically that, the AIM era. Like that's with voice and video now, depending on what it is you're using.
Right.
In terms of interesting and stuff with the family members, more video calls, less phone calls, less text messages. And we're playing like digital games where we can. In the house, we got Monopoly, this, that, and the third. And I think what you said earlier, both of y'all said earlier, sitting down at the table and having dinner together. If you're a New Yorker or you're a busy person or you're a city person, I don't want to say New Yorker, but New Yorkers for sure, but city people, city living versus suburban living, is very hard to get people to sit down and fucking eat at the same time, to get people in the house
really
at dinner time. So something like this is making us go back to the dark ages, aka before the internet in some ways. And it's a good thing. Having those conversations, find out what's really going on. It's a little tough because it's not like you're going outside, so that way when you come home you have a valid conversation to have.
Right.
But what it is doing is challenging people to dig deeper, to actually speak. Because I'm a big component of stop asking your wife, stop asking your husband, how was your day? You're gonna get the same answer you got. You know what I'm saying? You have to ask more intricate questions to get a more valuable conversation or valuable time spent together. Asking somebody who you speak to every day, every other day, how was your day, is very draining, and you're gonna get a drone answer. And then gaming when I can. I'm gaming a little bit more, but not as much as my 21-year-old self or my 31-year-old self or my 11-year-old self would love. Those people in me would be like, fam, what are you doing? You got mad games, you got mad access, and the one thing you had that you didn't have back then, well, not really, but like, son, you got money, you could just buy everything and play everything. And it's like, yo, I got to do other things. I'm listening to audios, I'm listening to pods, I'm watching more documentaries, and this is stuff that I always did, but I'm just doing more of it. So that's pretty much, and exercising when I can. And the last thing that I'm gonna say is, when I can get to it, I'm not done a lot of it because it's hard to get the meat to do what I want to do, is I'm grilling.
Yeah. I think that's a very important part, like for you, like being able like that's something that I really wish I had back, and that's the ability to step outside my house and to grill. My backyard and grill. That's always super cool. I would say one thing which is kind of sort of counter what we're talking about in a way. It's staying away from social media. When I say social media, I don't mean like how we have the chat rooms on gaming or this new app. Like, I think Discord is really cool because
hey. Don't spill the name of the sauce. I avoided that name in my whole conversation. That name in the whole conversation, bro. Stop putting it out there.
We'll bleep it out. Do we have a bleep button? We'll bleep it out.
Nah.
That social platform, I think, is really cool because I've always been of the notion that people don't really like to get in front of their camera to let people see what's going on. Like, yeah, like you. Everybody
we
does
spoke
it.
about this a while back.
A while back, like,
son,
like
every
when
time
we were talking about
every time on
FaceTime.
camera with Max, son, this dude's like, son, you wear hats in your house. Yo, mind your business, B. Yes, yesterday I'm showing him how my color lights work. I got analog color lights. You know what I'm saying? I got a remote for it. I'm not out here with the Google joint yet, and I kind of don't want to. But like, I got some flowers out here that you know, my uncle's lady gave me some beautiful flowers. I kept them in here, and now I kept them too long. I'm showing him the lights, and he gonna make a comment about the goddamn flowers. I'm like, yo, fam, you got one more time, fam, before I disable your fucking video privileges with me, fam.
For sure. So it's like, you know, like even with homeboy, the dude the other night, and he was like, damn, bro got a Foot Locker behind me. I was like, you know, don't worry about that, pop.
Yeah.
You know, we good. I'm gonna go good over here. It is what it is. So, I didn't. It wasn't offensive or nothing like that.
Not at all, but
definitely
still.
didn't take it. But it's, you put yourself out there in a video for people to comment, whether you are just a person that walks around butt ass naked, and here now I'm on a video and I'm butt ass naked, which you should be entitled to because you are home.
Right. Eggs and bacon on the stove, butt ass naked.
You know what I'm saying? But this is a social video, and people can walk through the door and see you butt naked doing whatever. So we put clothes on. I feel, but
The beautiful thing about these apps is you could always just turn off your video.
Absolutely. But you know what? The beautiful thing about this particular app is, if somebody did it, I wouldn't even care. I'd laugh. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Same here.
But these types of social apps, I don't think are the problem. I feel like the problem is Facebook, and when you
Twitter
start to
and Instagram.
It's anything with a fucking share button. That's the problem.
When social media begins to bottleneck and funnel into Facebook, social media, when now people feel as though they have the every right to share what you may not be interested in. Nope. Sorry. I have like I tell my wife all the time, the most, and I was going to do something the other day just to come to a realization that I was stepping back into what I used to do on Facebook. I was going to post something on Facebook, and before I hit send, she said, "Why are you putting that there?" And I was like, "Well, you know, why not? You know, cut and dry, to not dive totally detailed into what was being said." But she just was like, "I don't agree with that," and I didn't post it.
Agree with what you were saying, or that you were posting it? Not what I was saying, but the fact that I was posting it. She felt like it wasn't for everybody. And I said, I can rock with that. I gave it some thought. Yeah.
And I said I can rock with that. And I didn't post it. And this is part of that whole a community of people who shoot from the hip and use Facebook, and just like we were talking, the send button, the share button. Some things don't need to be shared with everyone. There are things. Well, go ahead.
So if we dive into that conversation,
and moving on to Facebook rooms right after,
I hate that the internet, because this type of shit started with the introduction of the internet, right? The internet was supposed to be this wonderful place where we can thrive from each other, and we can reach each other and be connected. And it turned out to be that, and also the fuck shit.
Yeah, like Flint water problem.
And the fuck shit, like anything else in life, the more negative shit, it always seems to have a louder voice.
It does. Oh my God.
And that kind of that DNA trickled into social media and the whole anonymity thing, where when the internet first came around, people felt like they could now say the most outlandish shit because you're hidden behind a keyboard.
Yep.
And you're hidden behind a screen name that could never identify who you are. And then the forces at B buckle down and say, no, you're going to use your real name, fuckboy. Right? And then these other avenues for connecting with people you actually know came about. And then it started to evolve again, where it's not so much your anonymity, but it's the fact that you feel that because a motherfucker's not in front of you, you're just not connected to them at all. Even if you're going to go to work and see this person tomorrow, you just feel the need that you could say some spicy shit out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And I hate that it's disconnected like that, because it's not. Like, son, I get on Facebook and say the most outlandish shit because I say the most outlandish shit in front of whomever, whenever I want.
Your filter is not specific to Facebook.
Right. I'm the same person.
Or the lack thereof. Yes.
Right. And I expect everyone to be the same. And I get what she's saying, that no, because she's that type of person. Because she's going to want to filter what she says to other people. And I get it. And that's reflected in how she uses social media. But a lot of people, they get on there and they pretend like the shit they say don't hurt.
Right.
The shit they say doesn't affect people. Or because you say it, it makes it right. And the crazy thing about it is these bubbles that are formed. And you know what? In their defense, they are right. Because if everyone around you is agreeing, that means you're fucking right. But in reality, no, this is a bubble of jackasses.
Yeah.
This is not reflective of the real world. And if all you were in front of me, I'd knock your head off your shoulders.
Yep.
But that's just not. And now it doesn't matter, because here comes social distancing, and the law of the land right now is this type of shit.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, we're going to tell people, we're going to spread horse shit that 5G is causing corona. And now everybody's looking like a fucking idiot on my timeline.
Yeah.
Son, I've even seen shit about Bill Gates creating coronavirus. Like, I'm just like,
that
what
shit.
the fuck? And this is coming from black people. This man cured polio in your country, right? Because black people love to tell me that Africa's home. This man cured polio in your country when he could have just went off and lived his rich ass on his island.
Yeah.
But you're going to tell me he's part of the quote unquote conspiracy to get rid of black people with corona? And I was just like, yo, son, I can't wait till technology gets to a place where I can throw my fucking water bottle through the camera and hit somebody in the face, son. Like, I need that. You get what I mean? Like, I need that. Like a corrective water bottle to the face. Think like a human being, not like a fucking mouse.
You know what though? I'm left with people only say what I don't think people truly back what they say, and that's a terrible thing. I think that people get on social media, even in front of a camera. A lot of people get in front of a camera and spew a lot of rhetoric that they don't believe themselves, and that's dangerous, because now you're perpetuating a false narrative, and
Son.
It's scary. It's scary. There is a lot that, but before I open my mouth, I try. I don't always do it, but I can say that I try to get as much information about something that I am going to say before I say it. And the moment, because you know what? The moment that I do say something, I have people around me like yourselves, like my wife, and ain't too many others that I really want to hear.
Yeah.
That will say, well, I think that you should rethink this, or I see your point, but maybe you should look at it this way.
And
think
those
about
sneakers
it
are
that
trash.
Yes, Jordan 6s are fucking terrible, son.
Son, hold on. You know what? Hold on, son. Hold on. We're gonna stop this right now. Hold on.
It don't even matter because ain't no video. He's pulling a fuck box off the top shelf
Of some trash ass
out
sneakers.
of some infrared 6s. The
look
only
like-
pair of Jordan 6s he's ever
damn
spoken
it.
about.
Listen,
You know what I mean?
these
You got
sneakers
15
are not
pair of Jordan 6s in
trash,
there,
son.
and you pull out the best pair to prove your point.
But because they're not trash, you want to see some more?
Son.
These are not trash, son. You want some more?
This is-
Recycle responsibly. Don't even put them garbage shits in a bag.
In
You
fact,
don't need no fucking fish getting caught up in a bag because your Jordans are trash.
Bruh, I ain't showing these.
So just give it up,
I'm
man.
not showing those, but I will.
son, your room is an endangerment to the environment.
Yeah.
No, it's not, son.
How many boxes of sneakers you got in there?
How many boxes of trash do you have in there?
I should take a screenshot and post on Twitter for people to see this bullshit.
What's the problem, son?
Well, they've seen it because we had the
These
video
are
shirts,
files.
but they ain't seen all of it.
Son, what's the problem, son?
By the way, folks, he can't find a proper pair of Jordan 6 to display.
Which
Like I
also
said.
means
No,
his library is out of order.
I know it's. I just redid this, so
But there is no
I'm
ordering for trash.
I have to rethink how I'm. See, I don't want to pull. Hold up, right there. I know the people can't see it, but
The
I don't want
Travis
to pull.
Scotts.
Absolutely.
Come on, son. You gonna pull out some hype beast shit. There's 50,000 pair of Jordan 6 and you only talking to me about
These
two. Those are
are
terrible.
not trash, son.
You're right.
these
Those
are
are
not
not trash. Those are just shite.
Let me ask you a question about those sneakers that you just pulled out and the ones before that. What is the logo that is on them?
It's a jump man, son.
Yeah, trash.
Yeah, fuck those kids. Fuck those
Fuck
kids.
those kids. Is there a Jordan logo on those?
Yeah.
Yeah, trash.
You know why I say Tawann's a fuck boy?
Fuck that, son.
He ain't got no Pippins in his arsenal over there. Why you ain't got no Pippins?
All right, so
Without Pippin, there would be no motherfucking Jumpman.
You ain't got no wingtips of Phil Jordan either.
You know what I'm saying? You got no Yeezy in your fucking Serato, son.
Jeezy right there. But so there are actually a pair of Pippins that just released. I actually want them. I have decided to not get them unless I can get them on sale. They came out and they sold out. They were the ones with the air on the side.
I didn't like those. Them shits was wild, obnoxious.
They were obnoxious because that big ass air on the side.
Yeah.
And this isn't really like part of the docket, but just for
Did it have to be that big on the side?
Yeah, that was what got me before. But they are a really nice sneaker. It's just the air is just so fucking tremendous.
So I can't see past the air. I cannot see past the air.
Yeah, and most people couldn't. Some people could, most people couldn't. And that's what some people, I was watching one of the weartesters.com, this dude, I forget his first name, but his wife was just like, when she saw it back then, when they first released it, he was like, it just looked so obnoxious. Like
back
the big
then,
ass fucking air. So I did want those. There were another pair of Pippins that I wanted. They were up tempos.
Yeah, the up tempo joints.
Yeah,
they were
those
one
are
up
good.
because the air. They were air. The ones with the air were up tempos, but there was another pair of up tempos that I wanted. They were white, black, and red.
I'm looking at them now.
Yeah, I definitely wanted those. So it's just that it's not my fault that Nike Jordan brand retros his sneakers in such frequency and Nike doesn't. You know what I'm saying?
Motherfucker, whatever, man.
So
going back to the
Pippen was
topic
number
because
2.
you're a Pippin racist, obviously.
Yeah, we'll be on that later. So
Oh yeah.
So Facebook rooms.
Yeah, more Facebook.
This is an interesting one because the report came out a while back that Facebook was sort of unifying their messaging platform. So they were tying Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger together. I didn't quite grasp what that looked like. Like if you send a message on Instagram, I guess you could kind of reach somebody on WhatsApp or whatever. It was the same shit. Okay, cool, that's fine. But what's dope is they just rolled this out in the midst of the coronavirus thing, where the video calls, you can create a room for video calls supporting up to 50 people, and no matter what platform you're on, Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, you can join that room. I thought that was a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most people are on one of those three.
Right. And to be able to narrow everything down to one specific app being reachable for, I think that's yeah. That's
Especially
really,
since I just had to create some fucking what is this house party shit, son? Y'all heard of this?
I've
Yeah,
heard
we
of
heard of
house
it.
party, but I
Supposedly it's the preferred video conferencing app for thoughts and the hood alike.
tie it to the
It's
name.
in the name. It's in the name.
Yeah. No one's on Skype. Skype is
Damn,
not cool.
I was not happy installing that shit on my fucking.
As we're doing this through Skype, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Skype is life, son.
Skype is life. Like I feel like Microsoft needs to get some of us younger people, even though I'm not young, but younger people on their team, and get somebody in their development space to rename their shit. Their shit is so old sounding.
They're doing better. Microsoft these days they're getting a little better. It takes a while.
Yeah,
but
I mean, even with the Skype thing though, like I remember what people was using Tango. There's another one. There's like a good 10 apps, which all of them names are forgettable, right? That was like in direct competition.
Yep.
Everybody's grandmother was on fucking Skype, and now you guys got the nerve to disrespect it. You know what I'm saying? And this is the trend, right? People always want to be with the new thing that's trending versus what works. And we out here wild recklessly doing it. So Facebook finally, which I thought they was gonna do, was snatch everybody's shit and just make it into their thing. It finally does it, and it's actually a pretty decent rollout in terms of the video aspect that they have of it to try to explain what's going on. Not everything is out at launch. You know, it's if you go to their site, there's a few soons hidden in the text, but like just in general, you know, this is what it should have been. To be honest with you, it should have been this 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I would give them some room though, because you got to remember these fuckboys purchased these other two, and
They've been sitting on Facebook for a while.
Platforms ain't.
I mean,
that
WhatsApp. Sorry.
Yeah, implementing platforms on the back end ain't no small fucking task, boy. You know what I mean? So I'm sure they've been at it for the last 5 years, unifying code, looking to the future for what a standard will be internally, and
You know when I think they got a step closer to this, when I was forced to do an update for WhatsApp, and then the Facebook logo shows before the WhatsApp kick in. I was just like, fam.
I heard a lot of people are tripped out by that.
Because a lot of people didn't know. We're tech people, so we're gonna know. There's a lot of people that don't know that WhatsApp belongs to Facebook, and there's still people out there that don't know that Instagram belongs to Facebook.
Yeah, but my point is, so what? You gonna stop using it now? No, then shut the fuck up.
Point exactly. Yeah. But still, I just don't want the Facebook logo before my WhatsApp. You're not doing it to Instagram, and even if you do, I don't want you doing it. No,
it's there. It's there.
Is there? I haven't seen it on mine.
Yeah, my Instagram says powered by.
Every time you pull it up.
Yeah. No, if I close it and launch it for the first time, it'll say it. But then again, I'm in the beta. I'm in the Instagram beta. I've been for a while, so maybe.
Oh, I see. It's at the bottom. It says from Facebook.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's not as like you get hit with a whole Facebook logo before WhatsApp.
Yeah, there's like a splash screen.
Yeah, with the correct logo. So on that one, it's not the logo. It's at the bottom and it's just mentioned and it's in color. in color range of what Instagram looked like. So that's why I don't notice it.
Yeah, I don't know. Fuck Facebook, but we need it.
Yeah, I think the Facebook Messenger rooms, they had to jump on that and make something quicker because Zoom came in and got people off their platform. Like, speaking from a creator, speaking from, you know, someone that's made, you know, apps and attempted to make social networks and stuff like that. When you get someone on your shit, the last thing you want them to do is leave to do anything else. This is why they've downplayed Facebook links on their stuff. This is why and face to trade off for Facebook, and because everyone's into be like, oh, like my page and this, that, and the third, and follow me and this, that, and the third, and friend me and like, you know, people are stealing videos at an all-time high, adding them to Facebook and then making it public so that way they can get that attention, which then keeps everybody on their platform, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you're not trying to, when Snapchat was doing what they was doing, Facebook got offended. You know what I'm saying? Like, Facebook is like the king on the corner who, if anyone's doing anything cool, it's like, I'm gonna buy you to kill you, and if you don't let me kill you this way, I'm gonna do what you do to kill you. Like, you're just going to die. And the Zoom thing was just like, oh, wait a minute, this is happening faster because of COVID. We can't have this. Yo, roll this out, because it is something that they should have been had. I felt like, again, they were dead late 2 years ago, and they're 2 years after where I said that they was dead late on doing this. Facebook Messenger works fine. It's a terrible the calls on it are, the video calls are better than the audio calls, and they're probably the worst at audio calls. But like, this here is very crucial for Facebook to keep their dominance up. So
what I will say in Facebook's defense, I don't think 2 years ago video conferencing was culture.
It's not about the
video conferencing was a professional thing.
Fam, what we was doing on Hangouts? Well, see, I'm on Hangouts all the time. Like, we would,
yeah, but
we
you're
would
a
do
techie
that,
dude outside of techie shit.
Right?
That's a techie thing to do, but most people, they do 1-to-1, right?
I agree.
Even if you look at Apple, just made multiple. You can add multiple people to FaceTime. They did that last year.
Yeah.
And I still don't think it's a widely adapted thing, because I don't see it going on like that.
Yeah.
But I think in
Very late
today's
to the party.
climate, video conferencing with 5, 6, 10, whatever people, you know, happy hour all the time, I think that is the new culture. So I wouldn't say they were late to the party. It's kind of like you didn't need it, really. You know what I mean? Because Skype been doing this type of shit.
And Skype been having multiple users.
And people
And-
who knew,
and so is
knew,
Google
and
Hangout.
It just wasn't culture. And Google Hangout was doing this type of shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I still think they were late, though. Just on the strength of, hold on one second. This alarm is going off, and I don't know how much of it is getting into the mic.
All of it. Shut your alarm off, sir.
You know,
You got an alarm for 12:17.
It was actually 12:15. I was ignoring it the first 2 minutes.
Why do you have an alarm for 12? I guess that makes sense on a Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday, fam. Like,
Get your ass up.
If I don't wake up,
get your ass up alone.
yeah, if I woke up and then wasn't motivated to do anything, 12:15, fam. Like, we can't let you go on.
Okay, fair enough.
I still think they were late on it, because research shows that when Hangouts broke out, we were on it, not just for chatting. Like, we were using it, right? Yeah. And these video things are all incremental by tech standards. Look at cars. I made this correlation to you. I don't know if we did it in here, but like, at some point somebody just made a car, and then it was 10 miles an hour, 25, 50, and then someone was like, F all that, I'm gonna make a car that goes 120 miles an hour. Like, why do you ever need to do that? You know what I'm saying? Someone said, well, we're gonna get miles to the gallon. You start extending that. We got these phones became, you know, we weren't talking about RAM on the phone. We were talking about how many gigabytes was on the phone. Now we don't talk about that. We talk about how much RAM is on the phone, and then it's 4, 8. We're gonna at one point someone's gonna make an 8 GB phone, and that's just gonna be the standard. Like, why do you need 8 GB on the phone? So,
isn't there a 16?
But that's a very small use.
My S20 Ultra laughs at this conversation. Continue.
So you have to be able to, as Facebook, right? You have to have your foot on the pulse of everything, or just buy people out. So the fact that is their strategy, because when today all I see people doing on Facebook is tweet. That's what they're doing. Facebook changed once you can tweet on Facebook, and they didn't know. I would see people make status updates. Remember when it's called status updates? That would bitch about people on making multiple posts per day on Facebook. On Twitter, that's just what we do. And now, if you go to your Facebook, there's people posting stuff, sharing stuff all day.
But I mean, I can argue that MySpace started that too. MySpace was the precursor to Twitter.
No.
MySpace wasn't doing it like that.
No.
You had to go. You had to go to someone's
individual
page.
centric.
Yeah,
social media.
Well, MySpace, you had the ability to post how you were feeling for the day.
Yeah,
and
then
that
was a status,
right?
Though, yeah.
And then you had your page,
right?
But you can't check that in a chronological order.
Right.
There's no feed.
There's no feed. Yeah. So
it was definitely an evolution back then, for sure. But
all of that
the feed is
evolution.
What's the cornerstone of today's social networking?
Right. Like, for instance, you had to go on Facebook. You had to go to someone's page. Now it's a feed. You get what I'm saying?
I feel like it's kind of akin to a merger. It's taking bits and pieces. If you think about AIM messenger, when you were in the chat room, when it was constantly scrolling, people were saying things. Yeah. I think they took that chat aspect and integrated it with how I'm feeling today.
Yeah, it's evolution.
They came up with Twitter.
Yeah,
you know what's going to change?
The original thing on Facebook when they gave us that bar was, "How are you feeling? What am I feeling?"
Yeah. How are you feeling today? Yeah.
You know how this is going to evolve now? Because I notice it with us. We roll on to the social network platform that Snow does not want to mention. Mm-hmm. And from the time you sit down on your PC, you enter that room, turn on your mic, turn on your camera, you just do whatever you do.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though you're the only one there.
Yeah, son.
So the next man comes in and he looks, oh shit, you're on. So he hops in.
Right.
So now we're going to start to see this, like, we're not posting, we're just chilling here waiting for everybody to join.
And this is something that we as gamers have already been doing. I say this, there's two things that predict mass mass inclusion or adoption. That's porn and it's gamers.
Do any of you have a Pornhub subscription you're willing to share with your boy?
I am not a user of Pornhub.
Who does subscriptions? Who does subscriptions anymore?
I don't know, son. I need to see if the premium version's worth it.
Oh, is that so, sir?
Just to, because I know someone is like, how the hell does porn make adoption? I'm not talking about it in a way that you think, although that is true, which is now why women are extremely unsatisfied, because now they're caught on to the dumb shit that we were caught on because we had more exposure to porn than they did. Now that they have it, they believe that they're not having fun unless they're getting those things that's happening in the video. Funny how that changes, right? What I meant to say is, because you're gonna derail that. What I meant to say,
real quick.
What I meant to say
0
was
to 100.
HD content was already available on porn. They were already using these cameras and stuff before.
And there you go.
Before we got it in a general use case. You know what I'm saying? It was already being used there. Those 60 frame per second produced things, or whatever you want to call it, all that was already being done in porn back in the early 2000s before anybody knew what that was. So that's stuff like that.
Yeah, and VR.
Yes, and VR.
Some porn's ahead of the game, son.
Yeah.
And auto blowjobs.
Auto blow.
Back to that, huh?
Hit all these back. So you gentlemen have
I
seen
know a couple
this.
people who listen to our episode. If they bought an auto blow, they loving us now during his lockdown days.
Shout us out. Hit the Twitter. Stop playing. What's up with this Last Dance thing?
The Last Dance.
Is this on Netflix?
No, it's actually on ESPN.
Yeah.
Oh, I have that.
Yeah.
Should I watch this?
You're a Jordan fan. Why not? Yes.
Yeah.
You get
I
the
am
story.
a Pippen fan. I happen to tolerate Jordan.
And because of that, you have to watch it even more because it gets into the origin story of Pippen.
So give me the rundown.
All right. So
I'm gonna let the trash collector over there give the rundown, and I'm gonna poke holes in the trash bag.
all right. First of all, there's nothing trash in this domicile.
Everything with a
before or
Jordan
after the
logo
Jordan
is trash.
6?
Right. Yeah. Both talking at the same time. Yeah. Right. Go ahead. So, Last Dance. Basically, it's a documentary. It has started because I want to think that every 2 episodes is different. So they are now going into episode 3, which will be aired Sunday, 9:00. It's about the Bulls run, more particularly what could have derailed the Bulls from being that dynasty. I don't think that the Bulls consider themselves Michael Jordan or Pippen or whomever. I don't think that they consider themselves a dynasty, even though we consider them a dynasty. You want to know why?
If not them, then who?
What?
Who is a dynasty?
Well,
who would be considered a dynasty? What team?
You would probably say the Lakers, because you don't, to be a dynasty, you don't derail yourself, and that's what happened. The Bulls derailed. Well, not the Bulls themselves.
So the Rockefeller family, not the family, the Rock with Jay-Z and them, they derailed themselves.
They derailed themselves. They're not a dynasty. You can't be a dynasty if you derail yourself.
This is news to me.
Bad Boy
derailed themselves too.
And most of the time they all fucking derail themselves. But
Puffy killed Biggie.
Yeah.
And Biggie's trash.
Did. All right. So what happened was you had the back office not willing to bend when it came to certain players, when it came to the coach Phil Jackson. The final year, their third championship, their third three-peat. Their second three-peat. What was it, 96, 97, 97, 98? Their last championship, basically. Jerry Krause said to Phil Jackson, we're going to give you this amount. I believe it was $9 million for this year, and you won't be back after this year.
Why?
Literally.
Motherfuckers, they're winning though, right?
This is, you know what? I think it was something more personal between Jerry Krause and Phil Jackson that even this documentary isn't going into.
That. Yeah, I agree with that part. But like,
it's
the goal is to win, and they're winning.
The goal is to win, but the goal wasn't for the Chicago back office. When I say back office, I'm talking about management. They don't care about winning. The team wasn't founded on or as a winning team. When the Chicago Bulls inception, they weren't a winning team. They were not.
You know what?
Most teams are not, though.
That is a great point, because I saw a documentary. It was a short video on why it doesn't matter if the Knicks win or not. Because the Garden is still wildly profitable.
That's unique.
Right.
Not
And
every
Chicago
city has a garden, though.
Right, but so Chicago is in a state, or is in a city that was founded on basketball. It was founded on baseball. was founded on baseball. It was founded on football. So
and that stadium means absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
When it was created.
That's the Bulls, the United Center is the building that Jordan built. Literally, when you know how people say, "Oh, that's the building that Patrick Ewing built," or "That's the building that Magic Johnson built." Literally, the United Center is a new building. Based on Jordan. His statue before he stopped playing was out. Well, I want to say he did stop playing, then he came and he came back. But
is this before or after the Sixers?
I don't understand.
The Jordan Sixers.
All right, moving right along, sir. Moving right along. Because I want to be clear. The Sixers, he won his first championship in. So, let's be clear. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry to burst your bubble. But it wasn't a basketball town. And Jerry Krause was a scout, and Jerry Reinsdorf was the owner. He owned the Cubs, and he owned the White Sox too. No, he didn't own the White Sox. Didn't own the Cubs. He owned the White Sox, and he's like, he's getting into basketball now. That's not his passion. It wasn't his thing.
He just saw another place to make money.
Yeah,
so he didn't care about protecting the legacy of the team.
No,
there was none.
It was no legacy. It's a built legacy now. So now moving forward, one would say, "Yo, we a basketball town. Let's make sure our basketball team is right." Then you had a bunch of ham and eggers, a bunch of burgers playing basketball for Chicago Bulls until Michael Jordan stepped foot on the court. And then everything changed. And that's why they talked about Michael Jordan coming from college. It started with him at Laney, but it was mostly that game-winning shot when he won a championship in 84 for UNC. Then I want to say he never graduated. Well, he didn't graduate then, but he transitioned into the NBA. And this is why, to Snow's point, we're going to talk about why that 64-point game was so important.
63.
On the Knicks?
Huh?
63.
He dropped that on the Knicks?
63. No. So
Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, I believe.
It was the Celtics. So why that game was so important? Yes, he didn't win. He didn't win the series, but this was a point where he just came off of an injury. This dude Jerry Krause was like, we already know what we have in you. We're not sure, but we're assuming that you can lead us eventually to a championship. We don't want you we want to protect you're an asset, basically.
Sure.
So we're going to limit you to 14 minutes. What do they say? 14 minutes a half.
No, 14 minutes a game. So he'll play seven and a half.
Right. Okay. So 7 minutes a half. Now, because they didn't want him to re-injure his foot.
And that was right when they was about to make they was looking like they was about to have a playoff run. Right. And they looked like they could make the playoffs. That's what that was about.
Right. So what ended up happening was they were able to see themselves a playoff spot, and Boston was their first team. Now he had to do so much to make it to that point, and he was fighting with these people, like, put him in the game. He's good. He went back to his college to play pickup games to build and rehab secretly to build and rehab his foot to prove that to himself and to his team and to the doctors, I'm good. But they were still protecting their asset. So now he did what he could to make it to the finals. Now here you got the Boston.
To the playoffs, not finals.
Right, to the playoffs. Boston was just a championship team that anyone could say, yeah, guys, Bulls, you good, but you're just not ready to get past them right now. All right, you're not ready. However, Mike said, look, here we are. They played the first game. He got his points, but he didn't show out. The second game was the Michael Jordan show. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do whatever it is possible to get us past this game, of which they still came up short. But that's when that whole that phrase was coined. One man can't don't win championships.
Yeah, and at the same time, I just want to, because I didn't hear it. When the Bulls were secured their playoff spot, that's when they took the minutes restriction off him.
Yes, they did. And it was a constant fight between.
And sorry, one more thing. And I said Eastern Conference Finals. I believe that's his first round exit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was the first. He got bumped in the first round.
Yeah,
but there was this documentary. Well, the first 2 episodes of this documentary just notates the battle that was between the players and management with the Bulls, and how this team could have been so much more had management not had their hand in everything.
So let me ask you. So the gist of what I'm getting here is they didn't understand how special that team was while they were in the moment. I
can say wholeheartedly they didn't understand what this team was about and how special they were.
Did the rest of the league know what was happening while it was happening? Is that why people respect Jordan and that team?
I feel like at that point in time, everyone else was building up a respect level for. They were looking at Jordan like, wait, what? Like,
so they knew like he was still against all odds. He was really talking about like his management, and they still made it.
Yeah, against more or less against all odds. It wasn't so much for Chicago, for the players in Chicago, and everyone else looking in. It was more of a here's one man trying to make a difference in a world that is seemingly more about managing a team than about letting the players play.
This is a lot of hidden context.
Yes,
because now I'm remembering Jordan's speech into the Hall of Fame. So that speech was wild ignorant. He was pretty much shouting out haters left and right.
Yeah,
and I remember,
yeah, but that's
like,
just him though.
No, I'm not saying that. That's truly him. But I remember like he kept going off on these vague, a lot of people wanted to see us fail, and it was kind of like, who are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck wants to see Michael Jordan? Like, that doesn't even make. But now, hearing like all this shit that was going on in the background,
yeah,
it's kind of like, oh shit, got it.
So here's the other thing too, and I gotta jump in because I thought you was gonna tackle this, but as a collector of trash, I could see why you wouldn't say these particular things.
Be careful, sir. Be careful.
So here's what's going on. The NBA, when Jordan entered, and matter of fact, Jordan's class might be one of the greatest classes ever to exist, and LeBron's class LeBron's class point wise is like almost, I think they're right behind that class, right? So when Jordan entered the league, nobody knew Jordan was going to be Jordan. They just saw another great person who just left out of college, and he looked like he's going to be worth something, right?
It was a big man's time.
Right.
Jordan was a little man in a big man's
You don't draft
game.
someone that's not a power forward or a center. Like, they can't lead your franchise if they're not a power forward or a center, right? Jordan comes in out the gate. He's razzle dazzle showtime, right? One man showtime, right? This is how the league became what it is today. Mm-hmm. The marketing went from the NBA to Michael Jordan in the NBA. Michael Jordan and the Bulls. You know what I'm saying? You don't get no other NBA TV star between Jordan's entry point to the end of the 80s had more TV time. There is not an NBA star that had more TV time than him. He became the marketing machine. You see subtle things like this.
Shaq?
Son,
Well, Shaq wasn't the 80s.
He came in like 91, 92.
Okay.
Early 90s.
And even then, no one had more. At that point, Jordan's untouchable, right? Every marketing dollar for the NBA included Michael Jordan. That's why when Michael Jordan got hurt, it was such a big fucking deal, because he was bringing the business in. The 92 Olympics, I think it is, the Dream Team, whatever year that was, right? The Dream Team is epic results of that marketing. This is why we have a worldwide game today. This is why everyone that's not from the United States are dominating in the game today in one way or another. It's because of Michael Jordan. We grew up in the era of three mics, and all three mics ruled the entertainment field. Because now we're not talking sports. Michael Jordan is considered entertainment. In order for the NBA to be a worldwide game, it also has to be an entertainment game. Michael Jordan put asses in the seats. It didn't matter if you were the Orlando Magic when they first came into the league, which means they did the same thing that Chicago did. They had no expectations. Right. When Jordan showed up, games sold out. You get what I'm saying? If your arena was failing, when Jordan came to play, it sold out. Now, here's the problem. When Jerry Krause is injected into the mix, this little short dude has a problem with not being credited. It's, oh my God, the Bulls, the Bulls, the Bulls. And then it became, oh my God, Jordan, Phil Jackson, Jordan, Pippen, Phil Jackson, Jordan, Rodman, Phil Jackson, Jordan, da-da-da-da. He's not getting the credit that he felt that he deserved. You're fucking management. You're never seen. He has the same problem that Eric Bischoff has. The other dude, the other writer that I can't think of his name, from the wrestling entertainment thing, where they needed to be recognized more, and they found out ways to get recognized more. Yeah, he was protecting the business, but he also was on some jealousy shit. Everybody knows this. When you're winning, you bring in more money. Period. It doesn't matter that Jordan, quote, quote, is getting up there. We all know that Jordan was averaging close to 20 points with the Wizards, which is, I think, 4 seasons after this whole situation that we're talking.
Points.
Right. And it was just 4 seasons after they blew up the Bulls. Right. Scottie Pippen's situation could have been fixed. People think Jordan was making mad money on the Bulls. No, I've been saying
wasn't.
Jordan is one of the most underpaid from the NBA, as in an NBA contract. I don't know about any backdoor deals. I'm not insinuating that.
Yeah.
But Jordan was one of the most underpaid players of all time.
Hang on a second. I'm about to denounce my throne as a Knicks fan. You telling me Allen Houston made more money than Michael Jordan?
Yes.
Allen Houston made
Allen
way.
Houston
He was one of the first players
he
to
had
make
one
as
of the
money,
most
much money as he
lucrative
was playing.
contracts.
Fuck Spike Lee and the Knicks. I'm done.
Son, this is why people were so pissed with that whole Allen Houston thing. It's like, this dude's getting $80 million, and then somewhere later, Jason Williams, not the Jason Williams that everybody know now, but the dude that was on the Knicks was making like 150 or something like that. Like, son, it was crazy.
And he ended up shooting somebody and coming to my damn jail.
Why you gotta bring up bullshit, bro? Why you gotta bring up bullshit, fam? So going back to the thing, right? They had money for Pippen. Jordan was getting his money somewhere else. They had that.
They had money for Pippen.
You get what I'm saying? Pippen to me is, until I hear otherwise, at least for my era and forward, Pippen has always been the most disrespected, the most underpaid. He gets punched in the face from all angles. There's just no shortcut about that.
That's
right?
my dude right there.
There's no shortcut about that. So Jerry Krause, really what Tawann said was very true. It was the owner who brokered the deal between Phil Jackson and the Bulls was like, all right, you coming on for 1 year. And then Jerry Krause walks up in Phil Jackson's face one day and goes, I don't care what happens at the end of the season, whether y'all win or lose.
You're not coming back.
You could win 82 games. You're not coming back next year. This little dude and his Napoleon ego is the reason why the Bulls didn't continue to at least have an opportunity to defend their title.
Right.
For at least one more year.
And that's the answer to the question, was the Bulls a dynasty? We say
they are
that
dynasty.
The Bulls are a dynasty.
You don't get to win and not be called a dynasty. I don't care if it's dysfunctional or not. You're a dynasty.
But what Michael Jordan was saying was, until I can't play no more, or someone knocks us, takes our title or takes our championship or wins in the finals, we can't be considered a dynasty.
Whatever, fuck him. He has selective definitions for everything.
Word, fuck those kids.
And fuck those kids. So they're a dynasty. They are a dynasty. They if you look at the decade, right, which you should never really look at from 0 to 9. You should really look at the inception, but it's not marketable, right? So if we just look at the decade, they won 6 championships.
Yeah.
Other people have won the rest. I believe 6, and then what is it, 4 that's up in the air? 2 go to the Rockets, and one goes to the Spurs. I think 2 go to the Spurs.
2 go to the Spurs. One
but
go
the
to the Rockets.
Spurs were considered a dynasty.
Yes.
Why?
I wouldn't consider the Spurs a dynasty.
They are considered a dynasty. I wouldn't, but
how many chips they got on that run?
2. Out of the 90s?
3.
No, they got more than that.
No, they have
Then they got 2 in the 2000s.
They got
yes.
1 in 99.
Mm-hmm.
They got 1 in 99. And no, I'm lying. It was the Lakers. The Lakers got 190. No, the Lakers won 2001.
Right. Remember, they won one in the lockout season.
Yeah.
They got one in the lockout season. I forget what the situation was, but either way, just not to derail that anymore. Either way, they are a dynasty. I don't care what that dude, number 23, trash bag center, says. They are a dynasty. My beef with the whole thing is Scottie Pippen and his injury, right? About when he decided to get that situation, talking about he was being selfish, this, that, and the third. It was the cards he was dealt. I don't know the context was he could have got his surgery done after or before the season started. I think it was before. I think originally when I was listening, I thought it was after. First off, I've been shorted on I don't know how much money. Your legacy is being built with me beside you. I'm not even being seen, right? And everybody knows Jordan praises Pippen, but nobody cares about when he. It's like, Jordan, we love you. We love you.
Doesn't have a fucking value to it.
It doesn't have a value to it. Nobody wants to give Pippen any credit. Like, oh yeah, whatever. He just gave you the ball. Like, no. There are stats that are popping out there where Jordan led the team in points, win series, and then Pippen. Now, Jordan could have been a point behind in every one of those categories, but the idea is who's at the top. Jordan points, Pippen. And it's like, you don't want to pay this dude. This team was doomed from the start with Jerry Krause. Like, that is just bad business there. And it's unfortunate the dude is dead because he needs the smoke.
Okay.
He needs the smoke.
You fit in the tweet, the Jerry whatever the fuck estate.
Nah.
Yeah, nah, fuck that. No, I just for some clarity, and when we want to talk, if we want to talk about who is a dynasty versus who isn't, so consistent championships, one can say. Like, I can argue for and against Chicago being a dynasty. You guys can argue for or against, depending on how you feel, on whatever time of day it is, if they're a dynasty or not. It can be argued.
What's the criteria for a dynasty?
That's the first thing that has to be established. I feel one of the criterias is number of championships in any 10-year span, along with until the point that another team beats you. Okay? Now, not you, your management beat yourself or beats the team. It is, I'm winning, we're winning, we're winning, we're winning. Here comes, I don't know, LA Lakers, and they beat us. Okay, so from the point that you were beat to the point that you first started winning championships, all right, how many championships did you win in that time? You got, let's say they were able to win 6, 7. Let's say they were able to win 2 more championships. That is a dynasty.
All right, so here it is. Here it is.
I don't agree with that.
And I'm leaning towards they're not a dynasty. Here it is. In sports, a dynasty is a team or individual that dominates their sport or league for an extended length of time.
Right.
The Bulls dominated, but that break in between,
it hurt them when Mike left.
No.
I feel like that break in between.
No.
Kind of cut that out.
Listen, see, and that's unfair, right? Because when Jordan left, the Bulls still made the playoffs.
Yeah, they did.
But they got to win.
No. See, this is what I'm talking about is unfair, right? They not only did they make the playoffs, their record was I think either 1 or 2 games either better or without Jordan. Their final record that year. They went to the playoffs, they lost. Fine. You know who else that happened to? Happened to the Lakers, but they still call them a dynasty. Also happens to the Celtics. They also call them a dynasty because once upon a time, Dr. J and them beat the Celtics, and Detroit Pistons beat the Celtics, and Kevin McHale told Isaiah Thomas beat LA. So was the Celtics not a dynasty because they didn't go to the finals and lost?
But
perfection,
the Celtics,
it's not perfection, but consistency.
It's consistency.
Consistency doesn't mean perfection.
Right, but you also have to win some championships with that, right?
How many years did they not win?
How many years did they not win?
After the first three-peat.
After the
How
first
many
3
years went by?
I think 2.
And one of those 2 they got to the playoffs.
They got to the playoffs both years.
And then they won 3 after. All right, okay.
And then they won 3 after, and then the team blew up. And in my opinion, right, it doesn't matter how it happens. All dynasties die.
right.
The king will get shot in the head. So here's why I would say what would happen for me to be like, all right, cool. You know what happened when the Bulls blew up? The NBA continued. If the NBA would have stopped right there, then I'd be like, yeah, we don't know. But the NBA is still going on today. The natural order of things is just how it happens. Injuries happen. This is why people like to disrespect Grant Hill, Penny Hardaway, a few other people who are supposed to be top tier in this conversation of greatness, GOATs. If it wasn't for injuries.
Did you not say Derrick Rose on purpose?
I'm leaving Derrick Rose out of that for a little bit. You know what I mean? I still gotta let it marinate, right? But because of injuries, F it, Derrick Rose. You absolutely correct, right? And I saw the greatness that was happening. I just didn't see the GOATness. You get what I'm saying? So injuries happen, money happens, lockout happens. People get old and retire happens. That's what happened to the captain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You know what I'm saying? You look at with the Heat, on the back side of it, which nobody likes to talk about, is a fading Dwayne Wade and a sick Chris Bosh. These things happen. It's bigger than just you didn't win the finals. You get what I'm saying?
Wait, are they a dynasty?
What? The Heatles?
The Heat.
No.
They're considered.
No. Not by the criteria that you're given. So I'm gonna tell you.
The Heatles aren't a dynasty because people hate LeBron.
No, the Heat isn't a dynasty because I think the Heat they don't deserve that type of recognition. They were a great team, but they
didn't dominate though.
But listen, all right. So hear what I'm saying, and then about this domination. So take the LA Lakers from 2000. They won 2000, 2001, and 2003. I'm sorry, 2002. All right, they lost the following 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then they came back to win 2009 and 2010.
That's not
You can
dominating.
it's not dominating, but you can argue that that's a dynasty.
Nah,
And the
that gap is too big.
And the
You
reason
can
why,
argue. I agree.
Hold up,
You can argue.
Hold up. And the reason why you can argue for them is because Kobe never left. They still had a top 5 player in the world. They just needed to do that, and they were always in the mix. Well, for the most part, they was in the mix. And Kobe dropped significant games where he dropped 83 points or some shit like that. Whatever that was.
That's not the only time that they made it. That they because they made it to the finals. 2 times in between.
They still a dynasty.
I think we need to define the criteria for dynasty,
right?
And then apply it. Not compare teams to teams.
It's still right. It's still loose.
And what I'm doing is I'm isolating it to 10 years. So in 10 years, they won 5 championships. That is 50. They're a 5. So for 10 years, they were a 500 team. All right.
You know who
for 10 years, the Bulls is a 600 team.
You know who? Yeah.
Go ahead. In the scheme of things, if you go 10 years for 10 years, now the LA Lakers consistently won championships, multiple championships in 20 years, but that's why you can argue that they were a dynasty because they were the winningest team ever. Period.
You know. There's 2 teams up until
good point.
Actually, yeah. You can continue to say this now for one of the 2 teams I'm about to say. The Utah Jazz and the San Antonio Spurs, right? These dudes used to never miss the playoffs, ever. They stayed in the playoffs. Yeah. And
when you talk about dynasty, it was always those 2 teams.
Son, but they didn't, up until Tim Duncan, none of those teams had any chips. You get what I'm saying? But they always had 55 plus wins or 60 plus wins.
I remember watching basketball. You can't sit here and tell me
that those games that they're winning 50 plus consistently, one of the top 5 records in the NBA for consistently over my entire watch period until John Stockton and Karl Malone left the Jazz, that you can't sit here and be like, there's some kind of dynasty here. There's just no way. There's just no way.
I remember when I used to watch basketball, the word dynasty wasn't really thrown around like that. You know how things become buzzwords?
Fucking Jordan, that's why.
And I remember anytime you hear the word dynasty, it was either
Ming
the
Dynasty,
Jazz or the Spurs.
Right.
And that used to be...
And none of them had rings.
Because they were asking the question about the Bulls at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Bulls a dynasty like the Jazz or the Spurs?
And on that way, that's how you start getting the buckets, because no, the Bulls only had the 90s for the most part. I think 7 seasons where they was like that. There are stats on the Spurs. Their winning record is ridiculous.
What city is San Antonio?
Yeah.
Texas.
Their winning record is ridiculous. And up until the last, I guess now you could say 20 years, because that's when the about 18 years ago is probably when the Jazz got blowed up. The Jazz record was ridiculous too.
I mean, so now if we want to start talking consistency, the Bulls been making the playoffs since 1984, 85.
This is why Jordan is important.
And this is why Jordan is significant, because prior to Jordan, they were not making the playoffs.
I also want to iterate that they didn't win from that point forward till the 1992.
92.
Scotty.
No,
Well,
91.
91. Yeah, the 91-92 season, right?
Yeah.
Because the Isaiah Thomas and them got 2 in the 90s.
Yeah, they
89, 90, 90, 91.
89 and 90. 89 and 90. 91 was Chicago.
What I'm saying is how the season started in 89 and ended in 90, and the other season started in 90 and ended in 91, which is how the Bulls got theirs.
Yeah, apples and oranges. But Some people like to say, "Oh, the Detroit Pistons were somewhat of a dynasty." I disagree with that wholeheartedly, but
They were always a pain in
They
the
had
ass
an
though, for
era.
other teams.
They had an era,
They had a
which
run.
is why
They had
why
a
people,
run. They
which is why
I
people
wouldn't even
put
call
them in
it
that category.
That was
Yeah,
when
I wouldn't
Rodman
even-
was on there balling, no?
Yeah,
that Rodman.
Like you had to go through the Pistons no matter
Dumars,
what.
AD.
Dumars.
You knew you had to go through the Pistons.
Right. If you were on the East Coast, on the West Coast, you only played them twice. So,
maybe 3 times.
maybe 3 times. But
I got a question.
God,
I know Snow is a LeBron fanboy.
fuck LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Is LeBron on any of these teams that are considered dynasties? Or are any of the teams he plays for considered dynasties because he's there?
Well, the dude LeBron, what did he do? 8 finals in 8 years? He's the force. See, because now today we have so much player movement, right?
Yeah, players are bitches.
Tim. So we gonna just ignore what happened with Jerry Krause, right? Like, see, people are so quick to pop at the player movement today and forget this situation right here that we're talking
Fuck
about.
KD.
Yeah,
Fuck KD.
and I never
Until I see him in a Knicks uniform. Wait, is he Knicks
No.
or Nets?
No, he's Nets.
Fuck KD.
Listen,
You understand?
and I get it. I get that whole sentiment. I'm not going to do, like, people like to say, talk about KD, like to your point, Snow, about so much player movement. Listen, let's be clear. It was done.
It's a business.
It was done in the 90s. It was done in the 80s. So the people don't know. They talk, but they don't know. And look at this dude here. Charles Barkley was one of the first people to do it in the 90s, where he jumped ship from the Sixers to the Suns.
That's why I don't
All right.
wear CB4s. It's bitch sneakers.
My thing is with today, like Tim Duncan retired a while ago, right? Him and RP Kobe, right? These are people who started and finished their career with the same thing.
Same team.
And they're great players that, you know, the systems were built around them and they adapted however they adapted, right? Mm-hmm. They had a run on those teams, and those teams, Tim Duncan, you know, because they were still winning championships in the 20s, in the 2000s and the 2010s, right? So some could say during his 20-year career, that's the Tim Duncan era. And then they can also say, because of the spread out of the championships, that for 20 years, the Spurs were a dynasty. You get what I'm saying? Like,
I don't disagree.
They can argue that, right? You can poke holes in it a little bit for Kobe, but you kind of have to say the same thing for them too, even though they don't, right? So being that LeBron has his whole career as an era, because his first year they didn't get to the playoffs due to, I think, a point technicality. They had the same record as the team that made it to the playoffs. They was just whatever the point total, whatever that deciding factor, they didn't get in. The next year they was in the playoffs, and then he led his team to a finals to the Spurs, aka Tim Duncan, and they didn't get it, he didn't get it with Cleveland. And then at some point, I think it was Cleveland and Detroit. Detroit and the Spurs and some other team. And then all of a sudden, this dude gets back to the finals, and then he goes 8 straight. LeBron's the dynasty. You know what I'm saying? But we can't say that for a person. For one person, especially if they team hopping.
I thought I've heard that they're dynasty players.
Yeah, there are dynasty players, but a lot of times that there was
that's in reference to him
movement.
on a team and a team being built around him.
Right. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Right. So being that LeBron moved, people are not going to want to give LeBron that stuff. They're going to compartmentalize him. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of hard to say that even when he returned to the Cavs, that the Cavs were a dynasty. It's hard to say that because they didn't win everything. You know what I mean? But people may make the argument. Actually, people will stain the Warriors. They're going to stain the Warriors for the KD thing. But someone could say, like, yo, that rivalry between Cleveland and the Warriors was akin to the small spats in between the dynasty talk between the Celtics and the Lakers. But because there was so much player movement that happened, and you had KD join and this, that, and the third, they're not going to give that kind of praise to that. So we may lose that team being a dynasty going forward for a little bit until we get back to business. You get what I'm saying? But LeBron himself, son, you cannot. I don't care how many times this dude lost. Carmelo didn't do this, and he's one of the greatest players to ever play this game. LeBron went to the finals, I think, 8 times. Doesn't matter how many times he came out of it. You have to still add some kind of tag to that. Because
I agree.
You can give LeBron his flowers. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. In hindsight, when I look at LeBron's career over the span of Cleveland, the Heat, back to Cleveland, and then to LA, LeBron is a force. LeBron is a force.
He is the force.
He is the force. Yeah, for sure. But when you're talking championship players, like it all buckles down to the chip. All right, you can be the best Charles Barkley in the fucking world, but Charles Barkley, and you can even make it to the Hall of Fame. You can be the best Allen Iverson you can be. But it all boils down to the chip. What in your career were you able to successfully lead your team to a championship? All right. So when we're talking about that, we have to take Charles Barkley off the table. We have to take Allen Iverson off the table, and a host of other players. You have to take Karl Malone off the because he couldn't do it on a championship team, right. The Lakers. So,
can I strengthen my stance on KD?
Sure.
I don't mind player movement. It's a business. You got to maximize what you can get. And I understand for players, they're going to make that money no matter. I feel like getting 26 million versus getting 27 million to them is nominal, right? But as a player, their goal is to win chips. Mm-hmm. That's what matters to athletes.
Yeah.
We think what matters to athletes is the money. Now, they're going to get the money regardless. Mm-hmm. But to them, they kind of feel worthless if they don't get that chip. That's the whole point of competing.
And when you're done, I want to add exactly why it is today. When you're done, just let me know.
And I get the player movement. Cool. The reason that, because LeBron did it, a ton of motherfuckers did it.
People did it before LeBron.
The reason, and I never nailed LeBron to the wall for this, the reason the KD shit just looks so wild to me, fam, you just lost to them. You literally just lost to them 2 days ago. How you gonna go over there?
Yeah, and that's fine.
Son,
and he makes that argument hard to have for him.
Find another team that's gonna give you that money or more, that you can come from another angle. But as a competitor, you're not competing, dog. You're not competing. That's not how you compete. Son, it's called King of the Hill, right? And the king is on the hill and you got to knock him off. You don't join his team. Maybe I'm off my rocker there.
I don't think that you're off your rocker. I can definitely say that when it was a calculated move on his part, because first of all, when to be a player as good as Kevin Durant, to say you won a championship only increases your worth.
Sure.
All right. So when it comes time to, especially when you look at that first championship, the very same year that he got there and came back and won a championship. So, and then you look at his contribution in that game when your star 3-point shooters are missing 3-pointers, and here you are nailing 3-pointers. Hey, you have to that accounts for stuff.
Yeah, he wanted to level up. Everybody else wasn't on his level.
So now here you come back again and you win another championship. All right. And now you say, well, you know what? I won 2 championships in Golden State. I want to take my talents to someplace else. And when you look at what he did now, you can't be mad at him because he didn't go to a A-list team. He went to the Nets. So what are you going to say about this person that went to get his gold with a championship-ready team now?
No, I get that point. I don't have a problem with the player movements. I don't have a problem with him coming to the Nets. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with him waking up one day and realizing his team is just not conducive to his goals. Find another team, motherfucker. What I have a problem with is your goal is to is to get back at the motherfucker who just punched you in the face.
You're true. I get it.
That's the point.
Yeah.
And I feel like by him doing that, and hey, this is a man. This is a well-educated man. This is a man. It's a family man, a businessman. I'm sure he's had to play these thoughts out in his mind. Ultimately, he did what was best for his legacy because he got his rings. Mm-hmm. B, his wallet. My angle is I'm kind of on the Westbrook side. Fam, you was gonna get your money regardless, and the point is a very prideful sport. There's integrity of competition, and I felt like he just threw all of that to the wayside.
Right. But
the highest level of competing.
To answer that real quick, Snow, and I want you to make your point that you was gonna make after Ramon. Mm-hmm. To answer this, that it's a lot of people. Yeah, you jump ship and no one is afraid of, is that's not the problem. Mm. And Westbrook had a problem with him, but people don't really understand. People got a problem playing with Westbrook.
Yeah,
all right.
He's a
I like him. I like him too. He's a really good player.
He's a likable person. Yeah,
he's my Kanye with a basketball.
Exactly. He is the Kanye West of basketball, and people really have a problem with a lot of shit that fly out of his mouth. Mm-hmm. And you can't have 2 number ones on a team.
That's true.
And you have to be able to, like, look at Golden State.
But you don't join a team with 3 number ones.
Well, but you didn't because Klay Thompson wasn't a number one.
He's not
the only number one they had on that team is Steph Curry.
Yeah.
So what happened
there's no blurring that line.
Right. So what you got was a team that was able that whose formula for winning fit Durant's style of play.
Correct.
So now you can play with two number ones on a team, but you can't do that forever because somebody's gonna feel slighted.
Yeah.
And this
somebody
got to
get paid more.
Because you had the Draymond issue. A lot of whole issue, and I know we're getting a bit off topic, but it's going to double back because this is all management shit. You had the Draymond issue between him and Kevin Durant, and what's funny is Draymond just said some shit out his mouth that was totally incorrect. However, it's still going to it still doubles back to decisions made that should always be in the interest of the players and should complement the team from a managerial point. Snow, go.
Okay, so the reason why we have all these issues in the past 10 years, right, with it is literally because of the topic that we started this, which is the Jordan problem, right? Son, again, we all grew up in the era of the 3 Mikes. We might as well call them the 3 Kings, right? And
who are you talking here? Jackson, Tyson, and Jordan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Action Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is, right? With that, I remember in round 92, that whole the legends of the basketball game poster was going on. Son, everybody already felt like legendary to me by the time I started being able to comprehend what that is. Like, everybody was already on that poster, right? So on that note, we start talking about who's greatness, what's greatness. The Lakers were a great team with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, with James Worthy, with Magic Johnson. You know what I'm saying? The Celtics were a great team, a great dynasty with Larry Bird, with Kevin McHale, with not really Dan J. but you know what I'm saying? Like, with these people. So we started getting into when Jordan started winning because of the marketing that was happening up until that point, which was, well, it's Jordan and the Bulls. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until they won it wasn't until subtly, again, that the Bulls were able to keep 2 years running, a year and a half without Michael, that they kept that team running and winning. And then when they won the three-peat, when they did the second three-peat, it was like, oh, you know, right, the Bulls dynasty. But up until that point, even at the second two-peat, the second set of the two-peats, it was still saying Jordan and the Bulls, Jordan and the Bulls. So at that point where he won his sixth championship, right? That's when everybody started disrespecting Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who still has better numbers than Jordan, and disrespecting Bill Russell. All of a sudden, this Jordan dude is the GOAT. Why is he the GOAT? He won 6 rings and never went to a game 7 and blah, 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 blah. He did 2 3-peats, da-da-da-da. So at the same time that this is happening, ESPN and all the other news people started learning how to disrespect other players that didn't win. You're telling me that one of the greatest power forwards, he was considered the greatest power forward, right? Which is Karl Malone. The second that Tim Duncan won his second ring, Karl Malone was no longer mentioned in this conversation. In fact, you don't even hear him at all. Patrick Ewing is never brought up in one of the greatest players to ever play. And it's because he hasn't won a ring. You think people like me?
Olajuwon started that.
When I was entering high school, this is a point where I'm still trying to decide what I want to do in my life, right? I'm like, damn, if I don't win a ring, I can't be considered great. And now I got to win multiple rings. So it doesn't matter if I put up numbers like John Stockton, who still leads the league in mad shit today, right? I'm not considered great. Oh, and then I hear about what happened to Patrick Ewing. Then I hear about what happened to Jordan. Then I hear about what happens to Pippen. This is pre-2000, right? Then you hear about what happened to Keith Van Horn. You start hearing these little business deals. It's business when teams make decisions. It's a problem when you make a decision. You know what that sounds like? You know what that sounds like? When you're in a relationship, it's all good when you're good, but the minute that other person does something, they're the evil one. So it's fine. Let's take it to we're all workers. We all work, right? It's all good when a company lays you off, but it's a problem when you leave to go get more money somewhere else. It's a problem when you leave to take your family somewhere else. It's a problem when you go somewhere else that's going to appreciate you and give you the things that you've been asking for. Not that you want, but the things that you need. It's a problem. It's always a problem when you, the individual, do something that goes against what the other person has already built. Same thing when you're a manager. I wanted to leave. When I worked for GNC, I wanted to leave to go to the Wall Street store because I could have made more money there and not been an assistant manager. I'm not running from responsibility, but this isn't my end goal. They wouldn't let me go. They would not let me go down there. And then the opportunity came when they closed down my store to open another store across the street, and I had to go work in these other stores. By that point, we was getting phone calls asking about our numbers, and I used to tell my boss and my RSD, put me in any store with those people who's talking about our numbers and we'll smoke them. Put me in any one of those stores. You ain't even got to send my boss. Send me. I'll smoke them on the clock every time. That's their home court. I don't know the customers, but I know the product and I know how to sell. What happened? I got my opportunity. So I'm smoking everybody on the clock. I'm holding down legendary numbers with legendary managers who's been in the game for 20 years, and I'm holding my own. and then I get stuck in my piece of shit store, and then eventually I became manager, and it's still not worth it. So I'm supposed to stay loyal to that? I can't
Absolutely
win.
not.
I can't win. You get to decide that if my family, who's living life in luxury in Miami, has to go to Toronto because you guys felt that I was on a decline. Fuck you. Fuck
you.
that. Why do you think, son, LeBron, and I hate to say this because people like to say, well, Iverson did it. No, Iverson didn't. Iverson had defensive snipers on his team. He was the offensive power. And that was the thing that they gambled on, and it didn't fully work out. And they didn't give him an opportunity because management felt like he was a problem, but they pissed off the city and Philly. And that's why they've, in my opinion, if we're talking about karma, why they had 3 rookies back to back to back that came out with injuries back to back to back. You get what I'm saying?
I think Iverson's dope as fuck.
So that happens
Great
with them, right? He don't even get a chance to adjust his game in a city that he gave his life to play with the new way that it needs to play in order to take a championship. He gets shipped along. LeBron gets to the finals with a team that, if you look at it again on paper, if we're talking about in the era that we watch sports and we know the players, you do not see a weaker team going to the finals than that. You really don't, right? He gets shitted on. Everybody knew he wasn't going to win, but they still shitted on him. But they didn't do it that loud. He makes a decision for his career, for his greatness, because at that time, people was already starting to say, yo, you that dude. And he's saying, no, Kobe's still the number one person. People was getting mad at LeBron because he wouldn't say that he was the number one. And then you know what happened? People started hating on LeBron when he finally say, I'm the greatest player in the world. When people was telling him this every goddamn day, and he was like, nope, Kobe. And sometimes he'll throw credit to some other guy. He finally owns it. It's a fucking problem. It's a problem, right? He makes more moves. It's a problem. Son, how? When I look at certain players, and Charles Barkley, who's still active, you know what Shaq says to Charles Barkley every time they get into talking about championships and what teams need to do, or even just what a team need to do? Well, you ain't got no ring, so why are we listening to you? Now, granted, they're good, but
Not a point.
on live TV, this man, who is one of the greatest players to ever play the game, is being disrespected by someone who has a ring. So you telling me Robert Horry is better than Charles Barkley?
I don't think that's the point. I think
No.
point.
But this is the point that I'm saying about why player movement is today.
Right.
We're demeaning people because they didn't win a ring. Son, there's people out there who are the champions of the world, right? Mm-hmm. And that they could only be called that because they beat everybody. But guess what? They don't get the respect because they wasn't the heavyweight champion of the world. Back when boxing was a thing. These mid-card people were busting their ass having the better fights when heavyweight boxing was on a decline. And that's why people are disrespecting Floyd Mayweather's career and some of those other people who were great in that class because they weren't the heavyweight champions. So that's trash.
And I agree, and we're gonna put a cork in this one, but just say this and depart. To Snow's point, I agree. You can't talk bad about Charles Barkley and what Charles Barkley brought to the game of basketball. You can never talk bad about
Carmelo,
John Stockton, these individuals and
Patrick
what they brought to the game. But you can argue that what they brought wasn't enough to the game to win a championship. That's an argument.
And management is part of that.
Absolutely. That and in those arguments, I take nothing away from Charles Barkley, Carmelo, and all of these people, because if I want to be as minuscule as possible and say they were part of the teams that I wanted to play with when I played against anybody on NBA Live or whatever. They were scorers. They were defenders. They were, in their contribution to the game cannot be overlooked. But it was scary is what Michael said. Michael MJ Jordan, it don't mean a thing if you ain't got the ring.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But even with the ring, they out here disrespecting LeBron James when it comes to Jordan. Again, Jordan had 63 points, swept in the first round, right?
He sure was.
And was praised from that point forward, right? This dude LeBron was in the finals, 50 and some change, 8-8, I think it was the number, and he lost in the finals, and this dude is trash.
But I think that's people just being talking shit.
I'm not talking about to the street people. I'm talking about the people on TV, because I always understand the street people, right? The people on TV. This is what I'm talking about. They are the ones that created the player movement.
Right.
Because everyone's so worried about getting rings. Because no matter what you do, it's just not enough. And this is what the media does. Right. Like, today we're scared of anchovies. Tomorrow you're drinking too much water. If 64 ounces is too much water. Like, come on, son.
Yeah, for sure. Media, news and media need to shut the fuck up and allow players to play. If you want to critique the game. But I think news and media has gotten too far beyond and into the lives of players and the business workings of players and the business workings of how this company or this ball club is ran versus that ball club is ran. No one is just critiquing the game of basketball anymore. Even this dude, the loudmouth one from the black guy. I can't even remember his name. Eludes me right now for whatever reason. But the way they just comment about how the ins and outs of a player. Listen, if a player has a great game tomorrow, Stephen A. Smith, yes. If a player has a great game, then let's get on our show and talk about the player having a great game and why. Let's not go into what his decisions are to be why he's there and why he's choosing to go someplace else or why he said what he said. No one cares. All that matters is the game of basketball. And when you start going into other realms other than the game of basketball, again, very much like what went on with the Bulls and how you have outside entities influencing the game of basketball, it destroys the love of the game. It destroys the game. Let players play. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this up. Before Ramon wraps it up, I do got to say one thing. Jordan did do 6, 6, and 6. 6 finals, 6 titles, 6 finals MVPs. That is amazing. So, shout out to the 3 mics of my era.
Too bad them Jordan 6s is trash. Could have been 4.
Sorry, he won his first championship.
Could have been 4 6s, but it's just 3. Some mediocre ass shit. My name is Ramon.
I am the Kicks guard, and Ramon also owns a couple of pair of Jordan 6s. Carry on, Snow.
And my name is Snow, and I've never owned a pair of Jordans in my life.
Not yet. Me and Tawann got the pot, though.
Fuck you, and fuck
and
those
a pair
kids.
of Air Jordan 6s.
You will get that Corona package to the house soon.
Sure, I'm pack it up right now.
We out of here, man.
Peace.
Yeah, peace.